I think they've earned a Pikachu dance, okay? Dude, how do I even approach this story? So this isn't even like a story. This is just me being frustrated with how the internet thinks of warfare, right? Because people think of warfare in a very backwards, kind of like Hollywood movie type way. A little bit less like, you know, hey, you know, we're looking at war from like a realistic perspective, and more like, my opinion of warfare is primarily informed by Saving Private Ryan, you know? So what happened recently is that the Defense of Ukraine Twitter account tweeted out a video of a Ukrainian soldier doing a little dance. You see this? I think the music's copyrighted. Let me play a little bit though. Okay, so they're basically just doing a little dance, yada yada yada. They're having fun during the Ukrainian winter, right? Morning Pikachu dance. Winter has never been an obstacle to good mood. Now, I warn you, like, this is like the most innocent, like, basically nothing burger tweet, right? Like, nobody looks at this tweet and says, wow, I can't, that's so controversial. It's just a soldier dancing. But if you look at the replies and quote tweets, which I promise you shouldn't, but if we do, it's not good. Now, I think a lot of them are going to be biased towards me because, like, I'm, like, pro, like, Ukraine generally. But if you get down in here, it's going to be like, I'm sure the few remaining World War II veterans see this and fondly remember similar moments from their war experience. It's like, don't let Joe Biden see this. He might donate another $1 trillion. And the general, like reaction I've seen, I've seen online, right? All these quote tweets and stuff and all these responses seem to be this idea of like, wow, this is a grift. Why, if they really need all this aid and this is such a serious, sad war, why do we see videos of Ukrainian soldiers dancing? Why do we see videos of Ukrainian soldiers singing? Why do we see videos of Ukrainian soldiers smiling? It seems to just be this general idea that if you see joy, if you see stuff like this from a Ukrainian soldier, then it must all be a scam and the war might not be all that bad anyway. I remember Alex Stein and a few others were on my show, and this same question was proposed to me when there was not evidence, but there was like people around Kiev who went to like a local beach in Ukraine. I've been to a beach in Ukraine. I had a barbecue on the beach after we made an aid delivery in Zaporozhye. I don't know how to like get this across to people, but warfare and war generally, as a state, when a country is at war and a people are at war, it isn't just, and I know this might be controversial, it shouldn't be controversial to say, but it might be controversial to say because of how disconnected people are with reality. War isn't just suffering, death, destruction, murder, war crimes, starvation, power outages, and all this sad stuff of your family getting murdered and like your house burning down and like all this horrible stuff. A war has a lot of that. Way too much of it, in my opinion. Controversial take, I'm against war. But that's not all war is. Most of warfare is just, you're kind of waiting for something to happen. You're either waiting to get shot at, or you're waiting to shoot at them. You're waiting for artillery to hit you, or you're waiting for your artillery to hit them. You're waiting to operate a drone, or you're waiting for a drone to come your way and to intercept it. Definitely if you're like one of the soldiers in one of these cities that have to do patrols and checkpoint work, or you're just like a soldier who's just there to kind of like reinforce the line or something like that. You're just kind of standing there waiting around. And the thing is, a lot of people like asked me, because I released a video when I was embedded with Ukrainian soldiers, right? If you go to my main channel right now, one of the videos that are up there is when I went to the front line in Zaporozhye. Now, I made the video in a very type of like the most unfiltered way possible. That was the way I tried to make the video. I wanted the video to be unfiltered because I wanted people to have the most like realistic view of the war, where I'm not like trying to like shift it this way or shift it that way. I'm just giving you like an unfiltered, like, here is footage from a war zone. This is what war zones are like. This is what war is like. That was the idea, right? 1 second. Where is it? There it is. I got spotted by a Russian drone in Ukraine. This is this is my most popular of all the videos I've released on Ukraine. And in this video, most of it isn't us hiding, even hiding in the bushes, even though we do. Most of it isn't like most of this is just us driving around and kind of like waiting for something to happen, or just filming soldiers just standing around. And a lot of people were really kind of disappointed by that fact. People wanted this. I'm being honest. People kind of wanted me to be. By the way, my helmet's so busted. People kind of wanted me to get shot at, if I'm being for real. And so me just showing all this footage of just like,
we were waiting to, I guess, hear more.
of just like these soldiers just kind of like standing around and being like, yep, this is what it is. Tough shit. Yeah, it's boring, kind of boring. It can be. Yep, that a lot of war is boring. It's a lot of boredom interrupted by brief periods of sheer terror. And that was part of the reason, not only to humanize these soldiers, but also to just give you an idea of like, this is what most of war is. And a lot of people didn't take too kindly to this. It's part of the reason why I am making my videos a lot more narrative driven now. And I'm working on trying to change up the content and how I present this type of footage. But this will probably always be one of the most realistic depictions of the war I've given, just because of how unfiltered it is. But people didn't react super excited to this in the way they would to like me getting shot at all the time, because it's just not particularly that exciting. But it's also the most honest depiction of the war I probably have on my channel. Even if it's not necessarily the most easily consumable perception of the war that is on my channel. And so let me just get this across to you. These soldiers face tremendous heartache, tremendous pain every day because they have to fight this war. This war of liberation. I think they've earned a Pikachu dance, okay? After the mass graves were uncovered, and the battle for the liberation of Kherson, and Kupiansk, and Lyman, and the battle for Kiev, and all these other... After all these battles and all these fighting for almost a year now, we're going on a year now, dog. It's going on like 10 months. I think they've earned a fucking Pikachu dance if they want to do a fucking Pikachu dance. Okay? Excuse my French, but I think they've earned it. And this is like, by the way, this is how every war is. You don't think American soldiers in Iraq were dancing at times? What about Afghanistan? I've seen footage of American soldiers in Afghanistan with ANA troops dancing and like counting around, because there's a lot of waiting and they gotta entertain themselves and they like to have fun. They like the camaraderie. They don't just want their last moments on Earth possibly to just be nothing but pure suffering with no moments of light or hope or anything to bring the morale up to stop them from like just ending it all. They need things to keep their morale up, and things like this, simple, innocent, and hurts no one. Yep, saw it firsthand right there. Reporter in chat who served in who didn't serve, well, reported in Iraq and reported in multiple war zones. You go to Armenia and talk to Armenian troops, same thing. Azerbaijan, right across the contact line, same thing. Go to Myanmar, the rebels dance and the soldiers dance of the fascist military junta, right? PLA soldiers dance, American soldiers dance, and that one guy said, oh, I bet the World War II veterans are frowning on this. They might be frowning on the style of dance, because the World War II veterans might have been doing like whatever they were doing over there, like the flapper dances or whatever the hell was popular during the Second World War. Maybe they were doing some more swing than they were doing like TikTok dances, but World War II soldiers were most certainly dancing, and they were going around sleeping with women. Sleeping with French women. They were going around gouging themselves on food. They were drinking. They got drunk. They got wasted. Some of them even did drugs well enough. Like they did things to relax. And the Ukrainian soldiers are allowed to do things to relax as well. You don't need this like caricature of Ukraine that's all doom and gloom with no moments of joy. And until Ukraine wins, no one's allowed to smile. It's ridiculous. You need to be able to keep morale up for society to function. And the reaction to this video just shows how many people in the West generally have never been in contact with war, have never touched war, have no idea what war is like, and have honestly probably don't even have relationship with people who have been to war and have talked in depth with them about what that experience was like. because their perception of what war is has been completely documented entirely by Hollywood movies, and this is why we need more freelance journalists and more journalists going out there to give a more honest, gonzo interpretation of the war that talks about these more human moments and not just the fact of statistics and the troop movements on the battlefield. They need the human touch that explains why people are doing this dance. Because what would be better than her doing this dance? Her looking into the camera saying, "My mother got blown up by a Russian airstrike. Every moment of every day, I think of nothing but reclaiming the black heart of the Russian occupation in the city of Donetsk and liberate." Like, no, of course, they want to be the human beings. They're allowed to have fun. They're allowed to have fun. That's basically my point. Bird Malkin, thank you so much for the Prime Gaming. I appreciate it. Like, for example, Anna. Here's a great example. Anna is somebody who's not even in the military. Her father was murdered by the Russian army. Right? Murdered by the Russian army. When I went to the house to film with her and talk to her about her experience, there was still blood on the wall from her father's death. Dried blood. And she, 20 minutes after we left that, was smiling and joking with me. Because how can you live with such a reality without these moments of relief? The last thing we should do is condemn Ukraine to internal suffering with no moments of joy. They already have to deal with the war. We don't need to now also sentence them to an eternity of severe depression as well. People need to just like wake up a little bit, okay? By the way, I wonder, man, these World War II soldiers would never dance. They would never do something like this. Never, ever, ever would they?
Against a Moscow sky to music by Boris Alexandrov, the brilliant dancing of the soldiers. It's a friendly contest with fantastic footwork and adventurous acrobatics. The dance of the soldiers.
Wow, World War II was a grift, proven by dancing Russian soldiers. Or are these Ukrainian soldiers? I don't want to get into the origins of this dance, but okay, never mind. You get my point.